been said that better questions lead us naturally to better answers, and that it's in not knowing that we open the doorway to knowing. I'm Scott Lennox, and you're listening to The Beautiful Question, a consideration of things that truly matter in a complex world. This week, we'll pause and take the time we need to step away from all of our doing so that we can remember who and what we truly are as we let go of a number of things that don't serve us and never have. Join me as I share a simple and marvelously effective way of slowing down and coming to rest inside. Join me as we follow the pearl and come home to ourselves again. How easy it is to be so busy, so frantically caught up in our endless doing, that we risk becoming fatigued to the point that we burn ourselves out. And along the way, how very easy it can be to become so deeply ensnared in our habits of negative and fearful thinking that we lose our perspective and nearly forget who we really are as human beings. A couple of years ago, while waiting for a flight to Nashville to buy a new fiddle, I watched a man who was sitting across from me. Scowling and looking anything but happy, he precariously balanced 3 cell phones, an iPad, and a small notebook on his lap. As he toggled back and forth between them, I wasn't about to intrude or interrupt, but I really did want to ask him what it was that required all that technology and all that connectivity. I also wondered about the ways his intense connection to his devices was disconnecting him from other parts of his life. High on the list of things that cause us to suffer is the fact that we live in a culture in which we're taught to constantly strain, endlessly pushing to do more. We're taught that we have to, quote-unquote, figure it out, whatever it is. Once we become attuned to such dictums as that, and the habits they build, we willingly strap on the harness and shoulder an ever-increasing load, struggling, stumbling, and getting back up again over and over in efforts to keep moving forward. Then, when the load becomes too much and we hit the wall, things change, whether we like it or not. As I've written in the past, like so many other people, I had to learn that treacherous lesson the hard way. Caught up in the soul-deadening mantra of productivity and allowing myself to be measured and valued by the level of my output, I finally came to a crisis point in which I was forced to declare a definitive no to the unrealistic demands I'd been trying to meet. It was a time to create real and substantive changes. It was time to liberate and re-enliven myself. It was time to stop. When I did, several parts of my life became not only quantitatively and qualitatively better, but they became easier. As a fundamental shift in me began to take hold, many of the ways I'd been thinking and living went away and never came back. I have to tell you, I don't miss them. Now, when I meet someone who asks the inevitable question, "And what do you do?" my playful response is to ask them, "About what?" And I leave them to wonder what it is that I mean. I'll confess that my seemingly lighthearted question has an intentional and purposive edge to it. My point is a simple one. As many others have said, we're not human doings. We're human beings. Our value and our place in the human family and in the world have absolutely nothing to do with how much we're doing at any given moment, or how well we're doing it. And while I greatly enjoy the things I do now, regular periods of intentionally doing nothing are necessary to support my health, my overall well-being, and my peace of mind. As you can imagine, after decades of zooming through my life at 600 miles an hour with my hair on fire, it was quite an adjustment to drop into a lower gear. For a while, my old habits kept reasserting themselves. Yet, The first time I settled into a deep state of conscious rest, tears welled up in my eyes. I could feel the tension in my muscles beginning to let go and drain away. I could feel my heart rate and the rhythm of my breathing slowing down. And without the internal death grip I had on myself, I felt myself breathing more deeply, the air coming and going so much more easily. Looking back, I knew I made the right decision. As soon as I consciously offered myself the grace of returning to my own inner neutral, I began to remember what it means to be who and what I am, and I stopped defining or measuring or comparing myself by anyone else's yardstick. It continues to be an amazing gift to myself. There's a reason I keep returning in these podcasts to the imperative of self-quieting. Repeatedly spending time in inner stillness is one of the most powerful things we can do to heal ourselves, and to allow peace of mind and the clarity that returns to our thinking. In a frantic world, stillness is one of the most significant things we can do to regain our authenticity and our sense of agency. I also want to be clear that stillness is not always doing nothing. We can be still while we're doing the things we're doing. Stillness is a state of mind and a state of heart. So how do we get there? I offer you one of the easiest and most effective ways I know. While I'm not certain where or from whom I first learned it, and while the idea is not my own, it's altogether worthy of my sharing it with you. It's called Follow the Pearl. Sitting quietly and comfortably, with your spine erect but relaxed. Envision a narrow, transparent cylinder inside you that goes from the crown of your head to the base of your spine. Within the cylinder is a warm, thick oil. As you imagine that, now imagine yourself quietly dropping a smooth, round pearl into the oil at the top of the cylinder. Because the oil is thick, the pearl will take its own time as it slowly, very slowly descends. As it does, simply watch it, following it as you let go of any sense of urgency or imperative. Simply follow the pearl. It's that easy. If you notice that it pauses or stops on its way down, quietly pay attention to what the pearl is showing you. Then gently give it permission to keep descending until it finds its natural resting place at the base of your spine. And once it settles there, allow yourself to be with it, calmly resting exactly where it needs to be, completely safe, completely free of urgency or demand, completely at peace, completely whole and intact. Spend as long as you like with the pearl. There's no hurry, and there's nothing more important that you need to do or that you need to figure out right now. Like the pearl, notice that deep inside you, you're resting exactly where and as you need to be. Deep within you, you're completely safe. You're completely free of urgency or demand. You're completely at peace. You are completely whole and intact. You are gently and quite naturally yourself. And so quietly watch yourself the same way you followed the pearl, noticing the clarity that comes on its own. Just notice it. it's good to know that it will still be with you when it's time to return to whatever it was you were doing before you chose to sit down and let go. And isn't it good to know that you can return to this restful and peaceful inner state following the pearl anytime you need to or want to, as often as you like. My own experience tells me that as you continue this practice, the expansiveness of your stillness and the depth of your clarity will grow in just the right ways. You won't have to work at it. You'll allow it. Following the pearl is an effortless way of coming home to yourself, one of the gifts that only you can give you. You can be sure that the sky won't fall when you give yourself permission to have a few minutes to put your phone and your computer and your planner and your to-do lists aside as you quietly slip into neutral. In fact, don't be surprised when you notice that the sky looks just a little bit bluer and a little clearer. Don't be surprised when the world seems a little more beautiful. And don't be surprised when you find yourself feeling much more centered and much more alive as your mind begins to clear. This week's beautiful question is an altogether predictable one. Exactly when and where will you give yourself the magnificent healing gift of following the pearl? And how long will you allow yourself to rest there while you come back to yourself? As you do, and you notice yourself feeling better and becoming clearer, write and tell me about it. I look forward to hearing your good news. As I say each week, my light with your light. Thank you again for listening. I'm always inspired by our collaboration as we work and play together, building better lives and better possibilities for ourselves, for one another, for the world, and for our beautiful planet home. I look forward to your comments and to your feedback. You can also be inspired by visiting my good friends at Cosmos Journal, including their online newsletter. That's KOSMOS Journal. Their mission is to inform, inspire, and engage global transformation in harmony with all life. You can easily find them online at cosmosjournal.org. And as always, you can find my free podcasts and guided relaxation audios by searching for The Beautiful Question in Apple Podcasts or in SoundCloud or CastBox, or by visiting the podcast page of my website at scottlennox.com. If you find them useful or encouraging, don't hesitate to share them. I'm Scott Lennox, and this has been The Beautiful Question. The Beautiful Question is a One Light production, written, recorded, and produced by Scott Lennox at Heart Rock Studios in Fort Worth, Texas, as a way of paying forward to life, being fully present, and becoming better engaged with things that truly matter in a complex world.